Since these are cars that I don't drive, so if a ticket comes in the mail, I used to get a little nervous when I first started doing this, but now it's like, it's routine to me now. I've requested. Welcome back to my TURO channel, man. I'm Believe in Yourself. We'll be talking about TURO and helping you guys get your host status to where you need it to be. Now, for this series, we're going to be talking about the TURO app and how it works. Definitely subscribe, like, definitely please comment. Let me know what you guys want to see next and share this video. Don't forget to turn on your notifications so you can know every time we drop a video, man. Peace. Welcome back to Mr. Believe's channel, Believe in Yourself. And where we helping TURO hosts, man, get where they're trying to get to, wherever that may be. Side hustle money, you know, whatever it is that you got and that you're trying to do with your TURO. Today, what I want to talk about is getting reimbursed for tickets. Now, this will happen. I would say probably for me, like, in the almost the first 6 months to a year of me being on a platform. Now, mind you, I was on a platform when I first started, very, very part-time. You know what I'm saying? So it wasn't something that I was doing full-time. I had my own personal vehicle. If you guys know my story, I had my own personal vehicle on the platform, and that put a bad taste in my mouth. So I started to buy vehicles that I wanted to put on the platform. And once I became full-time is when I really started to see a lot of these reimbursements come through or start to really put it in and ask for reimbursements. Because prior to this, I really didn't ask too much about reimbursements from the host, from the guests. So with tickets, now this is inevitable. I feel as though, you know, because in South Florida we have red light cameras, which I'm pretty sure some of you have in your states, tolls, and we also have, just a regular, you have parking tickets that they could get. Those are the ones I get probably the most frequently. I would say between the red light cameras and the parking violations, and when I say the parking tickets or parking violations, these are like when you go into those parking lots where you're supposed to pay, but you don't. Those type of things. So I get those tickets. I would say if I had to make a ratio of it between parking tickets and traffic ticket, as far as red light camera tickets, traffic tickets, I haven't really gotten anybody who got like a speeding ticket or anything like that in my car or a violation of that sort. I'm pretty sure if they did by the police, I think they're responsible for it. I don't think that's something that will come to me. But if I had to choose between the parking and give it a good ratio, I would say it's about 60-40. So 60% of the tickets or reimbursements that I get or that I ask for are parking violations, meaning that they didn't, wherever they parked, they didn't pay the toll or pay whatever it was they were supposed to pay. And 40% would be red light cameras, people, you know, breezing through the red light and not paying and not stopping. You know how those things work. I hate them. When they first introduced those things, man, this is a side note, man. I promise you, I was in the courthouse every month for those things. I must have been the worst driver according to them. Like, I was a lot younger then, but man, I think I had about 15 of those things. At least. Like, I was constantly, to the point my mom made a note. She was like, Kevin, man, you might as well work for them. You work for them. You all your money's going to them. You working to pay the state. But yeah, so I can understand those things happen. You know, if you don't know it's there, you don't stop right in time. Hey, it happens. But the process that I want to talk about is getting the reimbursements. So whenever you get the tickets or or whatever it is in the mail, they will always give you, especially red light cameras, or the parking violation. They're really good at this. They'll take your picture of the tag, so there's like no doubt this is your vehicle, of course, and the time and the date of which the incident occurred. And it's very simple because I don't drive my cars personally. I have my own vehicles that I drive, me and my wife. since these are cars that I don't drive, so if a ticket comes in the mail, I used to get a little nervous when I first started doing this, but now it's like, it's routine to me now. I've requested, last year I think we did almost $1,200 in reimbursements. This is just parking and red light camera tickets, almost $1,200. And this year alone, we're already at $1,000, and there's only half of the year is gone. So at the time of this recording, like literally, we're in like seventh month of the year, and because it's in the borderline, and we're already at $1,000+ of reimbursements, and a lot of it is tickets, tolls, and red light cameras. So they'll have the date and the time of the violation. What you do is you take, of course, you have to upload all of this information into the app. You take a picture of the sheet, and what I like to do is I don't just take a picture of the sheet. I zoom in on the tag that they have on there, so maybe you can't see that well. You know, some people act crazy when it's time to pay back some money sometimes. I zoom in on the time, the date of the incident, so they can see it was them, and I upload all of those things. So I give them all of those shots, and then on your app in the details section, I believe it's right under the reservation date and time. There's a section where it has your trip where you can ask for reimbursements. So you click there, and it'll usually ask you, depending on the time, what is the reimbursement for. So if it's, I believe, within 48 hours, 24 to 48 hours after the trip, there'll be mileage up there, damage, tolls, tickets, you know, different gas, things like that. After about 48 hours, the only two things that you can ask for reimbursements of up to 90 days is tolls and tickets, because they know that usually the tolls and tickets, there's a delay with the timing of when you might receive the bill to be able to ask for that reimbursement. So they give you up to 90 days. So I put in my reimbursement, and sometimes, every once in a while, you'll have somebody who will dispute it, and I've had that happen. And I just tell them, hey, just check the photos, and you know the proof is there. And I've had one person who was like adamant that wasn't me. Like, hey man, I don't know what to tell you. You know, if you don't want to pay it, it's fine. What happens when somebody is in dispute of it, they dispute the charges. What you can do is either try to reconcile it with the guest. Me, I've never done that. You know, I don't try to reconcile it with the guest. Once I put in the request, either you're gonna pay it or you're not. If you choose not to, there's an option you can continue to try to reconcile it with the guest, or I always choose the option to escalate it to TURO support. I always do that. And one good thing about TURO that they did, I believe it was last year, if they give the guest 3 days. So within those 3 days time, you know, sometimes these people, this might be their first time using the TURO app, their only time using TURO. So sometimes people delete the app off their phone. They might, to save space, who knows? Or they don't even check the messages in the TURO. They don't check the alerts. Or when we do send in the reimbursement request, they send them an email as well of what it is and things like that. Some people might not even check their email within that 3 days to find out the situation. So what happens now? It used to be that you had 3 days. If the person did not respond within 3 days, you would have to manually go in and escalate the situation of the TURO. There was a couple of times where I missed the 3 days. Things happen. You know what I'm saying? Once I send in the request, so many things are going on, you know, sometimes I forget. So sometimes I'd have to go back and resubmit the request. So other times I'd catch it within the 3 days, and I'd be able to escalate it up to TURO support. But what TURO did last year was they do it automatically. So now when somebody does not either pay it or dispute it, after 3 days, they automatically escalated to TURO support, which was another thing that TURO did that was kudos to them, because as a host, what they want to do is help you to worry about more income producing activities. You know, not always trying to chase your guests around and the little tedious things that can just take up your time. So that was a beautiful thing that they did. So now that it's automatically escalated to TURO, usually after the 3rd day, I would say give it another 3 days, because they have thousands and millions of people probably, you know, at a time asking for these reimbursements. They'll go through it and they review all the photos, the date and the time, and as long as it matches, there has not been one time that I've gotten my reimbursement request denied. The only time at least for tickets and tolls, I have never had a request denied. I almost had a toll denied, but because I uploaded a picture of my transponder in my car, it still was able to get it through. But I've never had a ticket denied that was ever a reimbursement request. So that's another thing that you guys can do. That's one thing you don't have to worry about if you are getting started with TURO. What if somebody gets a ticket in my car? Hey, as long as you can prove and you have documentation that shows that this was during the rental period or rental reservation period, you're covered. TURO will make sure you get that reimbursement. And what they do is they would automatically debit whatever account that person used to set up the TURO. Now, if that person's account is overdrafted and for whatever reason TURO can't get into it, what I know is TURO will do, they'll suspend that person's account and they will not be able to use or rent from TURO again until they close out that dispute. I know this why? Because it happened to my wife. She rented a car on TURO and that's what happened to her. So that's not a worry, something that you have to worry about as a host. It's an easy process. It takes about 5 minutes max out of your day, but make sure as a host, it is very important you pay attention to your mail, the tickets that you get, and you request those reimbursements as soon as you get it. Because you don't want it to come to a situation where it's after the 90 days and you missed. That happened to me one time as well, where for whatever reason, during the holiday time, I forgot to charge the tolls for November. Because I usually do it if you watch the previous video, I usually do my tolls a month after during the second or third week. But that was Christmas time. So I completely forgot and it slipped my mind. And it was like February or March, and it was literally like maybe a week after the 90-day mark, and I wasn't able to request my reimbursement. So as soon as you get your tolls, as soon as you get your tickets, put in your request for your reimbursement, and I can almost promise you that 99.9% of the time, you'll get your money back, man. So if there's any other thing that you guys want to know about TURO, definitely hit me up in your comments. And yeah, let me know what you think and what you want to know, man. I'm Kev B. Peace. As long as you believe you can't make it, you won't make it. If you believe that you can do it, you will do it.